at the end of the class, you can choose which one you want.
After the break?
At the end?
Not now. I think many of your friends hasn't arrived yet. Maybe. Is it okay to study first and then take a test later?
Yeah.
So what time will be good for you?
After the break's fine.
After the break,
Yeah.
should be okay, right? Then the good thing is that our classroom is here. If our classroom is in another building, the concert over there is so loud. Yeah, we can hear the concert very loud. And I heard that for some students, you may know the toy, right? The toy will come at 8 p.m. Maybe somebody doesn't care about that, but many of my small students, the bachelor degree students, they know about the toy, they wait for him to come.
Toy?
Some toy, I don't know.
The toy is a Thai singer.
Some kind of band.
He's a singer, and then he's gonna come and sing at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Doesn't care if you want to stop by. But not that important, right? Let's see. Let's continue our class a bit, okay? Today, we're gonna learn about the cost volume and profit relationship, okay? Before last week, we learned about the cost behavior, and you can reformat your income statement to the CVP format, right? And right now, we're gonna learn how we can use that information to make the decision for your company, okay? So for the cost, volume, profit analysis, let's say it as CVP analysis, okay? It's the study of the effect of the chain of cost and volume on the company profit, okay? We will study the effect of the cost and the volume. When the cost and volume change, how your profit change because of those things, okay? So this analysis is quite important for profit planning. You can use this information to set the price or determine the product mix. Okay, think about like in your company, you tend to sell many products, right? And after you understand the CVP, you can set the proper portion of the product mix. Okay, and also you can maximize the use of production facilities. Every company has limited resource, right? You need to maximize the use of them. And after you understand the cost, volume, profit, you may plan to use your production facility better. Okay. When we want to do the cost CVP analysis, we need 5 main information. Okay. The first one, we need to know about the volume or the level of activity that we are interested in. It can be either your sale volume or it can be either sale volume or production volume. Okay, and then you need to know the selling price of your product, how much that you sell your product per pieces or per unit, and also you need to know about the variable cost per unit as well, like. Yeah, per unit, you have to know the variable cost per unit. And also you need to know about the total fixed cost that your company have. Okay? And finally, if you sell more than one product, you also need to know about the sales mix. The sales mix means the relative proportion of each product that you sell. Okay? Let's say, if you sell 2 products, maybe it can be computer and printer. The sales mix can be like printer for 80% and computer for 20%. We call that as the sales mix, okay? But for this chapter, just make it easy. I will assume that you have only one product first. And in the next chapter, we will learn about if you sell more than one product, how sales mix come to play a role when you do the cost volume profit analysis, okay? So this is the 5 things that you need to know in order to perform the CVP analysis. And before we start to do our analysis, we need to have some basic assumption first. Okay, the first assumption is that the behavior of cost and revenue is linear throughout the relevant range of the activity index. If you remember from our last week, right, we talked about the relevant range. Is the production capacity, is the capacity that your company normally operate within. Okay, you have the maximum and the minimum. So we call that the relevant range, okay? And the relationship between cost and revenue and the profit tend to be linear throughout your analysis, okay? To make it easy, if it's linear, you can analyze easier, right? If it's not linear, you need exponential, you need log, you need many things to help you calculate. That's too difficult, okay? Just make it easy. The relationship is linear for now, okay? And the next assumption is that all costs incurred within your company must be classified as either variable or fixed with reasonable accuracy. See from last week, right? We need to identify the cost behavior, which is whether they are variable or fixed, okay? If you have the mixed cost, you need to separate them into the fixed portion and variable portion by using the high-low method, okay? That's why we need to separate them into fixed and to variable to make us do the analysis of cost, volume, and profit, okay? And another assumption is that the change in activities are the only factors that affect your cost. So this is the only reason that your cost change, okay? And to make it easy, the all unit that you produce or all unit that you purchase are sold in the same period to make it easy. And in next week, we will see if you produce and then you sell differently, how your analysis will change, okay? But for now, just make it easy. All unit that you produce will be sold in the same period, okay? And if you sell more than one product, just assume that the sales mix will remain constant throughout our analysis. But in reality, the sales mix can be changed, right? But to make it easy, just assume that the sales mix remain constant, okay? So this is the assumption that we have for the CVP analysis. Okay, but before we move on to the example, let's do the small review question. Which of the following is not involved in the CVP analysis? Fixed cost per unit, okay? We don't need the fixed cost per unit. We just need only the total fixed cost, okay? Because the fixed cost per unit tend to change if the volume change, okay? If you produce a lot, if you sell a lot, the fixed cost per unit tend to decrease, right? So in this case, we don't care about the fixed cost per unit. We just care about the total fixed cost that you need to cover, okay? And for the, let's recall what we learned from last week, right? We learned about the contribution income statement. We can call it in other name as the CVP income statement. The CVP income statement is the statement that used in your organization only, okay? So in this case, you just reclassify, right, the classic income statement into the CVP income statement by classify cost and expense into fixed and variable. And after that, you rearrange it and then you report the contribution margin, okay? The contribution margin is computed by just subtract the variable cost from the revenue, right? And the contribution margin is used to cover fixed costs. And if you cover all fixed costs, it will contribute to your net income, okay? So this is what we learned from last week. So let me recall it. For the CVP analysis, we just assume that the term cost include all costs and expense that related to both production and sale of your product, okay? We include everything and then we classify it into variable and fixed, and then we use that information to analyze the relationship between cost, volume, and profit, okay? Let's see the example. For this company produce a camcorder, okay? And the camcorder has the following information. The unit selling price, the camcorder is sold at 500 per unit, okay? And then the variable cost related to produce and sell the camcorder equal to 300 per unit, okay? And the total monthly fixed cost equal to 200,000. And currently, the company can sell 1,600 units of camcorder in a month. Okay. From information that we have here, we can make our CVP income statement as follows. Okay. As you can see, from the sale, the total sale equal to 800,000. How can we come up with 800,000? This one, how can we get the sales number? We sell the camcorder at 500 per unit, okay? So we just multiply 1,600 with 500, right? So you get the total sales of 800,000, okay? So this is your revenue, right? And how about the variable cost? The variable cost equal to 480,000. How can we come up with this number? Multiply 1,600 units, right, with 300 variable cost per unit. So you get 480,000 for the total variable cost. And then you just subtract the total variable cost from your revenue. You get the contribution margin of 320,000. Okay. See, right now, you have the contribution margin of 320,000. And this one will use to cover fixed cost, right? Your company has the fixed cost of 200,000. As a result, within this month, the company has the net profit of 120,000. Okay, so this is the CVP income statement. Let's see. Sometimes when we report the CVP income statement, maybe we need to report the per unit amount or the percentage of sales amount as well, okay? Let's see, after we create this, sometimes in order to make decision better, we tend to report per unit amount as well, okay? So the per unit amount, the contribution margin per unit, how can we compute that? We just look at per unit information and then we just subtract the variable cost from the selling price, right? As you can see here, we sell our product at 500 and the variable cost per unit equal to 300. As a result, the contribution margin per unit equal to 200, okay? And what does it mean by 200 per unit? This one means for each unit that the company sells, okay, the company will have the contribution margin equal to 200, okay? The selling price tend to exceed the variable cost by 200, okay? So for every unit that company sells, the company generates $200 to cover fixed costs and then contribute to the net income, okay? So this is the meaning of contribution margin per unit. Every unit that you sell, you generate contribution margin of 200 to cover fixed costs, and then it will contribute to your net income later. Okay, so this is the meaning of contribution margin per unit. Let's see. Let me rearrange a bit. This illustration shows the company's CVP income statement at the point where the net profit equal to 0. Okay, as you can see here, at the point that the net profit equal to 0, the company sells 1,000 camcorder, right? As you can see, the sales equal to 500,000 and the variable cost equal to 300,000. This one comes from 1,000 camcorder multiplied by 300, right? As a result, you have the contribution margin equal to 200,000, which is equally to the fixed cost, okay? As a result, you have the net profit of 0, okay? As you can see, for the per unit here, so this is like at the net profit of 0, right? Let me change a bit for the next one. As you can see, if the company sell one more camcorder, what happened to the net income. We know that at this point, where the net profit equal to zero, we call this as the break-even point. Okay, as you can see at the break-even point, the company has the profit equal to zero. How about if the company can sell a little bit more than the break-even point? In this illustration, you can see that the company sell one more camcorder above the break-even point, right? And as you can see, the net income equal to 200. Okay, as you can see that after you reach the break-even point, and for every unit that above the break-even point will contribute to your net income. Okay, and how much that contribute to your net income is equal to the contribution margin per unit. Okay, see you have the break-even point at 1,000, right? And in the next illustration, this one show 1,001 camcorder is one above the break-even point. As you can see, after you reach the break-even point, and if you can sell more, this one will contribute to your net income. Okay, and can you guess if you can sell 1,010 camcorder, how much net profit gonna be? It's gonna be 2,000, right? So 10 above the break-even point, that 10 camcorder multiplied by contribution margin per unit, right? And you're gonna get the net income equal to 2,000. Okay. As you can see, after you know the contribution margin per unit, it's easy for you to compute the net income after you reach the break-even point. Okay. And let's go back to this one a bit. So this one is current situation, right? The company sells 1,600 units. And since we know that the break-even point is at 1,000, right? So this $600 unit, okay? This one is the unit that you can sell above the break-even point. So the contribution margin from this unit will contribute to your net income, okay? As you can see, 600 and then multiply by 200 per unit, okay? That's why you're gonna get the net income of 120,000, okay? See, after you understand the contribution margin per unit, you can compute net income very easy, right? After you reach the break-even point, the rest will contribute to your net income, okay? And let's come back to this one a bit. So this illustration show information at the break-even point, right? As you can see here, at break-even point, you have zero net income, right? And how about contribution margin? The contribution margin here is exactly same as the fixed cost, right? So if you have contribution margin equal to fixed cost, it means that you break even at that point for sure, okay? And after you know this, contribution margin that you need to have in order to be break even must be equal to 200,000, right? So after you know this, you can compute back to the number of units that you need, right? You know that you need 200,000 to cover fixed cost, right? So how many units that you have to sell? So you just divided 200,000 with contribution margin per unit, right? And then you're gonna get the answer of 1,000 camcorder that you need to sell, okay? You can compute back and forth, right? You can use the contribution margin per unit to compute the net income. You can use the contribution margin per unit to compute the number of units that you have to sell, okay? So this is contribution margin per unit. And let's see, sometimes some people don't like per unit information. Some people may like contribution margin ratio, okay? We can use this information to help you calculate the same thing as well, okay? For the contribution margin ratio, let's see how can we compute that. It's easy, right? We just divided the contribution margin per unit with the unit selling price, okay? We know that from this example, the contribution margin per unit equal to 200 and the selling price equal to 500. As a result, the contribution margin ratio equal to 40%, okay? The meaning of the contribution margin ratio can be explained as, let's assume that for every unit that you sell, right? Let's say the selling price equal to 100, okay? So for every $100 that you sell, you will have the contribution margin back at $40, okay? So this is how we interpret the contribution margin ratio, okay? See, for each dollar that the company sells, the company can generate 40 cents of contribution margin from that, okay? And these 40 cents of each dollar sales will be available to cover fixed costs and contribute to your net income, okay? Quite same thing, right? But per unit information just tell you about each unit that you sell, right? But for percentage, it tell you about each dollar that you sell, how much contribution margin that you receive back, okay? And for the contribution margin ratio, it will help you compute the net income very easily as well, okay? Let's see, assume the current sale equal to 500,000 and what is the effect of $1,000 increase in the sales? Let's see. If we know that our sales increased by 100,000, and how does this have the impact on your profit? Okay, it's easy, right? If your sales increase by 100,000, it means that your net profit will increase by, contribution margin will increase by 40% of this number, right? As you can see, 100,000 multiplied by 40%. As a result, your contribution margin increased by 40%, which is equal to 40,000, right? And as a result, your net income will increase by the same amount, okay? So after you understand the contribution margin ratio, you can compute the impact of change in sales to your net income very easily, right? This is very helpful in determining the effect of change in sales on the net income, okay? See, after we rearrange our income statement into the CVP format, right? We know the meaning of contribution margin per unit. We know the meaning of contribution margin ratio, and then we can use this information to find the change in the net profit, okay? So, you guys with me, right? Okay, let's see what else, okay? Before we move on, let's look at small review questions. So the contribution margin is which one? It's both A and B, right? What's wrong with C? Selling price less subtract by cost of goods sold. What is this one? This one is the gross profit, right? This one is from financial accounting. So part C, this one, selling price subtract by cost of goods sold is the gross profit. Okay, it's not for this class. Okay. Let's see. After we understand contribution margin per unit and contribution margin ratio, let's look at how to compute the break-even point, okay? For the break-even analysis, so before we start, right, let's recall it. The break-even point is the level of activity at which the total revenue equal to total cost, okay? So it means that at this point, the net profit equal to 0, right? We know that at this point, the revenue equal to cost. So at this point means the net income or the net profit equal to 0. So at break-even point, right? Okay. And at break-even point, it can be the total fixed cost may I use abbreviation? Total fixed cost equal to the total contribution margin, right? So CM stands for contribution margin, FC stands for fixed cost, okay? So at break-even point, we know that total revenue must equal to total cost, right? And also at this point, net income equal to 0, and also the total fixed cost is equal to total contribution margin, okay? So at break-even point, this is the truth, right? And in order to compute the break-even point, we can use 3 methods. Okay, the first method we can use mathematical equation, and we can also use the contribution margin, and we also can use the graph. Okay, and when we compute the break-even point, it can be expressed in either the sales unit or in sales dollars. Okay, can be in unit or can be in currency. Okay, in sales dollars. Let's see. Let's look at the first method. If we want to compute the break-even point by using the mathematical equation, it's easy, okay? We know that at break-even point, net profit must be equal to 0, right? Let me set up the new equation a bit, okay? For mathematical equation, let me make it bigger. So this is how we compute our net profit, right? We just subtract our revenue by all expense or all costs. But for our analysis, we tend to classify our costs into variable and fixed, okay? So sales minus by all costs, we know our net profit, okay? And at break-even point, we know that our net income must be 0, right? So this is at break-even point, okay? Our revenue subtract by all expense equal to net income, which is 0 here, okay? And let's see, how about sales? From the information given, we know that each unit that company sell is each unit of the product that the company can sell is sold at 500 per unit, okay? So for the sales, 500 per unit, let's assume Q as the unit. So at the break-even point, okay? Let's see, so this is your revenue, right? And how about variable cost? Each unit that you sell have the variable cost of 300, right? So you just subtract variable cost 300 multiplied by Q, okay? And how about total fixed cost that your company have? Equal to 200,000, right? Let's see how can I come up with this number. Let's go back to the information a bit, okay? I take it from this slide, okay? For this example, this is the information for the company that we are looking at right now. The selling price per unit 500, variable cost per unit 300, and fixed cost monthly fixed cost equal to 200,000. Okay, so I just use this information and plug in into the equation, this one. Okay, and after we have the equation with only one unknown variable, we just solve for the unknown variable, right? So this one just like how we just use the equation, right? We know how to compute the net profit. So we just subtract all expense from the revenue, and then we just try to find the unknown variable. So in this case, we know that at break-even point, we must sell the 1,000 units of our product in order to be break-even, okay? So we got our Q equal to 1,000 units. So this is the first method, okay? For accounting, for using the mathematical equation, we have to sell 1,000 units, okay? How about in sale dollars? How can we compute that? We just multiply the selling price, right? The selling price per unit equal to 500. So we just multiply the selling price per unit with 1,000 units. So it means you have to sell $500,000 in order to be break even, okay? So this is the first method, okay?
Silence.
Okay, everyone with me, right?
We're with the exclusion.
Okay. And then the second one, if you don't like the mathematical equation, you may use the contribution margin technique, okay? And how can we use the contribution margin technique? As you know that at break-even point, the contribution margin must equal to total fixed cost, right? And how can we compute this by using contribution margin technique? Okay, let's see. We can compute the break-even point in unit by dividing fixed cost with the contribution margin per unit. Okay, let's see. Since we know that we have to cover all fixed costs, right? The total fixed cost equal to 200,000, and how many units that we need to sell in order to cover total fixed cost. So we go back to our contribution margin per unit information, right? Each unit that you sell, you have the contribution margin of 200, okay? Each unit have 200, and in total, we need to cover all fixed costs of 200,000. So we just divided 200,000 with 200, and then we come up with 1,000 units as well, okay? So this is the second method, okay? You can use the contribution margin per unit to compute the break-even point per unit, okay? And if you want to change into dollars, you just multiply 500 with 1,000, right? And then you're gonna get $500,000 as well, okay? So this is break-even point in unit, okay? So you just divided fixed cost by contribution margin per unit. And then you're gonna get the break-even point in unit, okay? And then, if you don't like break-even point in unit, you may find the break-even point in dollar as well. Okay. The break-even point in dollars, actually you just multiply 1,000 units with 500 and then you get the answer, right? But if you don't want to do that way, you can use the contribution margin ratio to help you as well, okay? We know that each dollar that you sell, you have 40 cents in return, right? And you need to cover the fixed cost of 200,000. As a result, you just divided 200,000 with 40%, right? And you're gonna get the break-even point in dollars equal to 500,000, okay? So this is the break-even point in dollars. So this is the second method, okay? And the last method that you can use in order to compute the break-even point, you can use the graph as well, right? As you can see for the graph, you need to have the revenue line, right? The yellow one, this one is your revenue line. The revenue starts from 0 and with the slope of 500 per unit, right? So you got the yellow as your revenue line, okay? And how about the cost line? For the cost line, you have variable cost and you have fixed cost, okay? The fixed cost line start at 200,000 and the variable cost line have the slope of 300 per unit, okay? And you have the total cost line as the red one, okay? And in order to find the break-even point, you need to find the intercept of both lines, right? As you can see, these two lines has an intercept point here. So the intercept point tell you the break-even, right? As you can see, the break-even is equal to $500,000 or equal to 1,000 units of sale, right? If you draw the graph and the intercept of these two lines will tell you where is the break-even point, okay? So this is the graph, just draw two graphs and then you find the intercept point and then that one is your answer, okay? Let's look at some review questions. So the company is planning to sell 200 units for 4 per unit and the contribution margin ratio is 25%. If the company will break even at this level of sale, what are the fixed costs of this company?
See.
So how much for the fixed cost?
C.
C, 200,000. Everyone get that? Let me explain a bit, okay? So how can we come up with 200,000? Let's see. We know that at break-even point, right? Total fixed cost is equal to total contribution margin, right? make it a bit bigger. We know that at break-even point, right? Total fixed cost is equal to total contribution margin. And how about total contribution margin that we have right now? Contribution margin equal to 25% of sales, right? And how about our total sale? How much is it? It is 200 units, right? We multiply by 4. As a result, okay, at this point, your total contribution margin equal to $200,000. Okay. This is the fact, right? At break-even point, your total fixed cost is equal to total contribution margin. And from information given here, we can find the total contribution margin right now, right? Since the company can sell 200,000 units, and each unit is sold at 4, so this is your total sales, right? So total sale multiplied by contribution margin ratio, so you get the total contribution margin of 200,000. Okay. So everyone got it. Okay. And how about this? Another exercise. Okay. The company has the unit selling price of 400. A variable cost per unit equal to 240, and the fixed cost equal to 180,000. So the question asks you to compute the break-even point in unit using a mathematical equations. Let's do it one by one, okay? Let's start with the mathematical equation. So, mathematical equation, you just compute your net income, right? And how to compute your net income is just subtract all costs from the revenue, right? So maybe I give you guys some few minutes, okay, to complete this question.
Oh.
So the break-even point, how much do you get? 1,125, right? Yeah, that's the right answer. Let's see. Just assume that Q is the quantity that you have to sell in order to break even. Okay. So for the total sale equal to 400 Q. Okay. And how about variable cost? The total 240 Q, right? And how about your fixed cost? 180,000. And at break-even point, we know that the net profit equal to 0, right? So we have just only one known variable, so we can solve for the unknown one. Okay, Q equal to 1,125. So this is a mathematical equation, right? And how about B? If you want to use the contribution margin per unit, we know that we must have the contribution margin equal to fixed cost, right? So it's easy. So we have the fixed cost of 180,000, and each unit that you can sell will give you 160 contribution margin. As a result, you just divided fixed cost with the contribution by the contribution margin per unit, and you will get the same answer, okay? 1,125 units. So this is how we compute the break-even point, okay? We can use either the mathematical equation, you can use the contribution margin, or you can use the graph, right? Okay, does anyone have question? No, right? Let's see. Let's look at some supplement, okay? If you flip to the end of this chapter, you will see the supplement for lecture number 3. The first one is too easy, okay? Just move on to the second one, okay? The first one just asks you to compute the contribution margin per unit and contribution margin ratio, so you can play with this on your own, okay? And then look at question number 2. Question number 2 is the situation of the barber shop, okay? The barber shop has four barber, and one barber who's also served as the manager is paid a salary of 3,000 per month, and the others are paid 1,500 per month. So this one is the fixed. Let's see, after you read this, let's tell me which one is fixed cost, which one is variable cost, okay? Let's see the cost incurred in this barber. The first one is the salary expense, okay? How about this 3,000? This one is fixed cost for sure, right? You need to pay the salary of 300,000 for one barber. And how about 1,500 per month for the rest? So this one is also fixed cost. Okay, but don't forget to multiply by 3, okay? Because you have 3 more barbers, 1,500. And in addition, each barber is paid a commission of 3 per haircut. So how about this 3? This one is variable cost, okay? And then other monthly costs are store rent of 700 plus 60 cents per haircut. Actually, this one is big cost, right? But you can tell exactly which part is fixed, which part is variable, okay? How about 700? This one is fixed for sure, okay? And 60 cents per haircut. This one is variable cost per haircut, okay? And how about depreciation expense of 400? This one is fixed for sure, right? And how about the barber supply, 40 cents per haircut? This one is variable, right? And how about utilities? Utility, this one is fixed. And advertising, also fixed cost as well, okay? And the price of the haircut is 10. So this is the selling price, right? And the question just asks you to determine the variable cost per haircut and the total monthly fixed cost, okay? And question B asks you to compute the break-even point in unit and in dollars. And The last one, this means the net income assuming 1,800 haircut in this month. So I give you a few minutes to complete A, B, and D. Okay.
So yeah. Last one. Enter for the last one.
I invited her to give the presentation, the lecture. No, nothing yet.
Is that at the end?
Yeah, I have to send her email. I asked my celebrity friend to put me in contact properly. Let's see. Let's see if we can do it.
Very nice. Fake.
Everything, who cares? You're drinking Pepsi, it's fake sugar. You're still drinking it.
You're very generous, man.
Huh?
You're very generous.
Nice person. You got the picture?
Thank you.
The first one, right?
Give me your moment. In a second. I've been happy.
You gonna what?
Going to my account.
I followed you already.
One of my top followers.
Jesus Christ. I'm jealous. Yeah, I'm sick of her. I like the other one more. Ooh, so much information. Oh, yeah. Happy for your life, man.
So, do you get the same answer? The total variable cost per haircut include 3 parts, right? Commission, rent, and supply. So this one,
It's so
we just take it from the black one, right? See, from the black one that we write down up there, we just take everything from the black one. So we have the variable cost per haircut equal to 4, okay? And how about fixed cost? We just take all red ones, right? The red one include the salary of 4 barbers, and the rent expense, and depreciation expense, utility, and the advertising expense, okay? And the total fixed cost is equal to 9,000, okay? So this is the total fixed cost and variable cost per haircut, okay? And for question B, the break-even point, how much do you get for the break-even point? How many haircuts? 1,500, right? And which method that you use? The equation or the contribution margin method?
Equation
right?
for me.
Yeah. Let's see. So for the equation, you just set up like the total revenue minus by all expense, right? And set the net profit equal to 0, okay? And we just solve for the unknown variable. So we come up with the quantity of 1,500 haircut, okay, not unit. So this is the number of the haircut that you need to have, you need to earn in order to be break even, okay? And if you want to change into dollars amount, you just multiply by the selling price per unit, okay? And you're gonna get the break-even point in dollars equal to 15,000, okay? And maybe some of you may use the contribution margin technique, okay? If you use the contribution margin technique, you will get the same answer as well, okay? We know that at break-even point, the total fixed cost must be covered, right? Must be covered. As a result, we just divided the total fixed cost with the contribution margin per unit. The contribution margin per unit equal to 6, right? The selling price equal to 10, and the variable cost per unit equal to 4. So the contribution margin per unit equal to 6. You just divided 9,000 with 6, and then you're gonna get 1,500 as well, okay? So this is question B, right? And how about the last question? If you have 1,800 haircuts within this month, how much profit that you're gonna earn? So it's gonna be 1,800, right? So this is, I just use the full version, total sale minus by total cost, right? So total sales at 1,800 haircuts, variable cost at 1,800 haircuts, and then subtract by the fixed cost, okay? And you're gonna get 1,800 as your profit, okay? But you may think another way. Since we know that the break-even sale is at 1,500 haircuts, right? And now, if we have 1,800 haircuts, it means that we are 300 above the break-even point, right? So you can just multiply 300 haircuts which are above the break-even point with the contribution margin per unit, okay? So you will get the same answer, okay? We know that at break-even you have to have 1,500, but currently you have 1,800, so you are 300 above the break-even. So you just multiply the contribution margin with 300, and then you will get the same answer. I think you are okay, right? So everyone with me. Today you guys look like so quiet, not happy because of the quiz. Maybe you worried about the quiz, right? Just trust me, it's not difficult. You may be afraid of that, but when you see the quiz, you will think, oh, I shouldn't be that afraid. Shouldn't be worried, okay? Think you guys can do it for sure.
For sure.
For sure. Believe me.
ไม่เชื่อ
ไม่เชื่อ เชื่อสิ Now we are done with the break-even point, okay? Let's move on a bit.
This week, do you have any assignments to do? Go home at late.
Right now, we know how to compute the break-even point, right? We know how many units that we have to sell in order to break even. How about let's expect some more, okay? After we reach the break-even point, maybe we need to set some target for our net income, okay? Let's see if we plan to have profit, not just break-even. We can use the same technique to compute the quantity that you have to sell in order to reach your target net income, okay? So in this case, we can use 3 method as well. You can use mathematical equation, you can use contribution margin, or you can use the graph. Okay. See, let's move on now. We need some profit. We expect some more. Okay. Let's see. If we want to use the mathematical equation, we still use the same concept, right? We have sales, we have variable cost, and then we have fixed cost. We just subtract all costs from the revenue, and it's still equal to net income, right? But in this case, your net income must be some number, not zero, okay? It's just your target, and then you just solve for the unknown variable as well, okay? Let's look at the example, okay? The same company right now, this company just want some profit, okay? Rather than selling at break-even point, this company set the net income, the target of 120,000, okay? So this is the target of this company. Let me set up the equation of it, okay? Let me borrow this one. Actually, I can use the same concept, right? But right now, rather than set the net income equal to zero, I will change it to my target, okay? See, just let Q is the quantity that you have to sell in order to earn the net profit of 120,000, okay? We just use the same thing, but set the net income equal to your target, okay? And then you just solve for the unknown variable, and you will get the answer of 1,600 units, okay? Actually, it's similar to what we did earlier, right? But just change the net income from zero to the target that you want to have, okay? So in order to earn the net profit of 120,000, this company must sell 1,600 units, okay? So this is the quantity. How about the dollars amount? You just multiply 1,600 with 500, right? And then you will get the answer. The total sales will be $800,000, right? So this is the first method. Do the same thing, right? Mathematical equation. So everyone's okay, right? Let's move on to the next one. If you don't like the mathematical equation, you may use the contribution margin technique, okay? And as you can see, right now, we need to have contribution margin to cover fixed costs, right? But not just the fixed cost. Your contribution margin must contribute to your net profit of 120,000. As a result, your numerator, right? Here, you must add fixed cost and target net income together, and then divided by 200 contribution margin per unit. And you will get the same answer, 1,600 units that you have to sell, okay? See, each unit that you sell, you have the contribution margin of 200. This 200 will be used to cover fixed costs and contribute to your net income, right? So in this case, you must cover total fixed cost of 200,000, must cover all fixed costs, not enough, right? Your contribution margin must contribute to your net profit of 120,000 as well, okay? As a result, you will get 1,600 as your answer. Okay? And if you want to change into required sales in dollars, similarly to the previous one, you just multiply 500 with 1,600, right? Or you can use the contribution margin ratio to help you compute that, okay? So you just divided fixed cost and target net income by contribution margin ratios, okay? So you will get the required sales in dollars equal to 800,000, okay? So let's look at some small review questions. So if you want to use the mathematical equation for compute the required sales to obtain target net income, the required sales must be equal to B, right? Equal to all costs and also must have the net income as well, okay? So the target net income. Yeah, we are done with the second topic. Okay, this one is short. And let's look at some exercise. Okay, let's look at the supplement question number 3. So let's see what we have here. So this is the current situation of this company, okay? As you can see, currently this company experienced the loss, okay? Has the loss of 60,000. And the question asks you to compute the break-even point in sales dollar for current year, which is 2015, okay? Actually, you can use any technique that you like, okay? Not just the contribution margin technique. Just use the one that you like, mathematical equation or contribution margin technique, okay?
No. One. 2. That's what my wife always says as well. Two. 4 How many additional units? More goals? Hey, we got a new hotel. We got a new hotel.
Where?
Nearby. Look it up.
Okay. Yeah, where?
This one called The Warehouse.
The warehouse. It's yours?
Just got it.
Just got it.
Just bought.
Oh.
This one didn't design.
Oh.
It's quite cool.
Let me. Internship.
You want internship? What for?
I'm going to. I'm wondering. Actually, I'm also thinking of getting into the consulting market, targeting people. So they really demand experience in accommodation business.
Hmm.
So actually, I'm expanding by the Argentine also to work for hotel sells people from hotel background. No
Right.
matter how they, no matter where they're from, no matter graduating from, you work, they don't care.
Which company you want to work for?
I want to get into the consulting market, targeting
So
a
for
hotel.
the first question, the break-even point in sale dollars for 2015.
The Warehouse.
So
It's very,
I'm not
very
sure
cool.
which method that you use, so I do I did both, okay? So first, if you use the mathematical equation, you will find the quantity, right? So as you can see, before you start doing anything, you may need to find the per unit information, right? Let's say for the sales, we know that the total sales equal to 1 million and you sell 40,000 units right now. As a result, you can find the price per unit equal to $25, okay? Just divided 1 million with 40,000 units. So you know the price equal to 25. And similarly, we can do the same thing for the variable expense. We can find the variable cost per unit equal to 17.5. We compute this by divided 700,000 by 40,000 units, okay? So you have variable cost per unit equal to 17.5. As a result, your contribution margin equal to 7.5 per unit, okay? So for the contribution margin per unit, it means that each unit that you can sell, right? You will have the contribution margin of 7.5 to cover fixed costs and contribute to your net income, okay? Let's see. If you use the mathematical equation, you just set Q as the quantity that you have to sell in order to break even. And then we just multiply 25 with Q, you got sales. And for variable cost, you multiply 17.5 with Q as well, okay? And for the fixed cost, we know that the total fixed cost equal to 360,000. So we subtract all costs from the revenue and you set net income equal to 0. And then you solve for the unknown variable, you will have the Q equal to 48,000 units, okay? But the question asks you the break even in dollars, right? So you have to multiply the selling price per unit to the unit that you have to sell, right? So you will get the answer of 1.2 million, okay? So this is the mathematical equations, okay? But if you don't like mathematical equation, you can also use the contribution margin, right? So for here, we know that we need to have the contribution margin to cover all fixed costs. The fixed cost that you have equal to 360,000, and each unit that you sell, you have the contribution margin of 7.5, right? As a result, you have to sell 48,000 units, and then you translate that into dollars by multiply with 25, so you get the answer as well, okay? And if you don't like unit, and because you have to convert to dollars later, you can use another formula as well, okay? We know that if we have the contribution margin ratio information, we can find the break-even point in dollars straightforward, right? And from information that you have, how much for the contribution margin ratio? How much is it?
7.5.
It's 30%, right? How can you come up with this 30%? You just divided contribution margin with the price, right? We know that the contribution margin equal to 7.5 and the price equal to 25. So 7.5 divided by 25, you get 30% for that, okay? And the meaning of contribution margin ratio is for each unit, for each dollar that you sell, right? You will have 30 cents of contribution margin left to cover fixed costs and contribute to your net income, okay? So after you divided fixed costs with contribution margin, you will have the break-even point in dollars equal to 1.2 million. Okay. So this is the first question. Okay. And the second question just ask you to compute how many additional units that you have to sell in order to earn the net income of 45,000. Okay. So we need to find the quantity first, right? The same concept, right? Similar to the break-even point, but you just set your net income equal to 45,000, and then you can find the quantity equal to 54,000 units. Okay. And if you don't like the mathematical equation, you can use the contribution margin per unit as well, okay? And you will get the same answer. You need to sell 54,000 units in order to earn the net income of 45,000, okay? But the question don't ask you this, right? The question just asks you the additional unit that you have to sell, okay? So currently, current situation, you sell 40,000 units, okay? So how many units that you have to sell more? 13,000 units, okay? So this is the answer, okay? After you find 54,000, this is the amount that you have to sell in order to earn the target net income, right? But the question just asks you to compute how many units that you have to sell in order to earn $45,000. Currently, you sell 40,000 units. As a result, you have to sell 14,000 units more in order to earn your target profit, okay? Sorry, I'm a bit late for your break, okay? Let's have a break.